So I was fighting the lighting for a while, but finally got it working. So today is going to be day 18 of Trading 101, and today is going to be on equilibrium, obviously. Equilibrium isn't the strongest confluence, I'd have to say, within the charts. It can be some confluence. It's not really in my trading strategy necessarily, but it is a confluence indeed that we have to go over. I think with higher time, this is kind of a confluence where you need kind of higher time frame confluence for this. This isn't necessarily a smaller time frame kind of confluence, but it can be something that is added within your trading. So it is a pretty good confluence. So what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is when price is either in two places: a premium to buy or a premium to sell. So this is a little easier to see, obviously drawn out, but we will go in the charts and show this. Uh, what can this help us with? Equilibrium can help us can be an added confluence in trading, but cannot be the only confluence in trade. So this can kind of help us with overextension, right? Price is continuing to move up drastically and kind of needs to chill out, needs to go the opposite direction. Same thing with it going bearish, right? We're selling off the planet. We need to get within equilibrium. Obviously, there's usually a ton of confluences that are added with this. Like we'll have a liquidity sweep up here. We'll have a bearish order block that has been tapped into, right? So we have a ton of other confluences, but this can be kind of like the final one, right? We see this overextension here, and price is probably going to come back the other way. So this is a pretty good example of it drawn out, but obviously we will go in the charts and show this. How do we mark this on the charts? It's always from swing low to swing high when it's bullish, and swing high to swing low, and in the opposite case when it's bearish. So it's a little bit easier to show on the charts and show this. Obviously, that's why it's been super important for me to show all this stuff on the charts. It's one thing to be able to word it out and be able to say it, because like yes, you need to understand the basics of this, but it's more important that I kind of show this stuff on the charts. Now, it's always important to understand this confluence will not work 100% of the time, right? This is not a confluence that works 100% of the time. No confluence works 100% of the time. However, we do see this quite often. So, this on the hourly time frame, as we can see. So, there's actually a lot of different ways to set this Fibonacci retracement. That's what it's called. So, if you press this over here on the left underneath the line here, it's called Fib retracement. So, this is what mine looks like. So in order to do that, you draw it out and you go to settings here, right here. And I only have the 1 and zero point 0.5 and 0 marked out. And I have it at black and white. So trend line's white. So, and my background's black. So this is the settings for it if you want to look at it. Um, I don't really need to know the other levels. The other levels are for like take profits and whatnot, and I don't use that for this. So that's what my settings are at. So going into the charts. So we see a couple great examples of this fairly early. Um, Obviously, we see on the hourly, it can be a tad bit easier to mark this stuff out. So here's the one right here. So if we turn the fib retracement on and our magnetic, so obviously we go swing low to swing high, like I said. So if we go from swing low here to swing high here, where are we? We are in a premium to sell, especially on this hourly time frame. If I just hide this so you can't really, it's hard to see. We see, okay, we're at this swing low to swing high point. We're in a premium to sell. What happens? It sells. It falls off, right? But this, like, kind of like why I say it's not a very high confluence is it's a little bit harder to tell. I mean, it's not hard to like tell necessarily, but um, this is another good example right here. Obviously, we go from swing low here to swing high up here at this high, and then what do we do? We sold off. So obviously, this is not like its own confluence, right? Like it can, oh, it is, but you cannot use this for that purpose. Oh, prices. There was an example of it not working over here, right? We see this slight overextension. No, where was it? Yeah, it was right here. Okay, we have this here, right? I mean, it worked to an extent, right? We have this swing high up here to swing low down here. Okay, we reach this bottom area here. We get to this swing low. We're still within a premium to buy here. Obviously, we need to find more confluences, but we're still in a premium to buy, still in a premium to buy, and then we end up tapping into equilibrium the opposite direction, which actually happened to be okay. We see price is in a premium to buy technically right here and end up selling. So like I said, this isn't like the best confluence to use on the smaller on any time frame really. Like Yes, to an extent it works, and obviously I'm showing it working, but you need to have other confluences in line. So I think within these next few videos, I'm definitely going to be going over kind of putting more of the stuff together versus just like showing it bit by bit. Putting it all together is super important. But again, we have a good example of it right here. We have swing high up here to swing low down here. What happened? We ended up down in this premium to buy and ended up moving back up. So it's again not going to happen every single time. We're not going to push all the way back up here because we don't move in zigzags, right? Price doesn't move like this, right? We don't see, it constantly taking out liquidity sweeps, right? It's not constantly taking out, but we can see to an extent that somewhat pattern here, and we saw that right here with, swing high, swing low, bam, goes the opposite direction, right? So, uh, we need to have more confluences in line for this in order to work, but in general, yes, it does work. So obviously, this can be kind of a final confluence. I view it as a final confluence. You have to have other higher time frames lined up for this in order to work. But just using it on itself is not going to work. So just making this over here, right? We go swing low to swing high. We go fib retracement magnet, right? We go swing low. We could technically say this is the low right here to the swing high up here. And you're like, oh, well, we're in a premium to sell. And then it ends up selling off. Like, you can't do that. Like, especially with it, if there's a new chart, right? If we're moving into the new day, new week, and you see on the hourly, oh, we're in a premium to sell. Yeah, it can be a final confluence. I think it would be a great confluence, right? So this would be one right here. So kind of put more things together, right? We have this draw of liquidity up here. What did we do? We took it out. Where were we specifically within the draws of liquidity? Well, we were actually, oops, that is not the right thing. Well, actually, we were within a premium to sell, right? Our premium to sell. So we were up here. We moved to the swing high up here. Okay, we're actually in a premium to sell after this liquidity sweep. And we were in this untapped bearish order block. So what did we see here, actually? So we swept out these highs up here. We swept out London session highs right here. So I will vertical line so that way I know where I'm going. So we'll go on the 1 minute time frame if it lets me from this far ago. It should. I don't think it was that long ago. Oh, nope. Okay, so I gotta go on this little higher time frame. But yep, right here, what do we see? We see an overextension to the upside. So even to an extent, like obviously we see in the hourly, it's in a premium to sell. Well, we get this liquidity sweep to the upside of previous session highs. We already have this smaller time frame order block. We have this massive fair value gap. So we get a complete closure below it. And then bam, we sell off, right? This was an instant sell off. We got our huge liquidity sweep and then a retracement back up. So this was just like putting more stuff together, right? So again, this would be a great example of, on the smaller time frame, right? So we already have our liquidity sweep to the upside, so we already know we want price to go down. Okay, we see here we have our fib retracement, so we'll go from swing low up to swing high, right? We could mark out a nice break in structure, so we get a break in structure on the 5 minute right here, so we create this low here, we create a new relative low right here, right? We get a complete candle closure above it, and bam, we sell off right away. So obviously putting more stuff together, it's a little bit more intense. There's a lot more stuff showing, but overall, equilibrium is pretty good. So we're going to do another part to this a little later down the road to kind of tie it all together, but that's pretty much it with equilibrium.